organizational culture influences knowledge transfer. Yeah, how organizational culture influences knowledge transfer. Everything we contain here has been all about how to share knowledge, how to create curiosity for knowledge, and how to pass it across to younger generation or maybe your colleagues, right? However, I would like someone to give me a feedback. I would like someone to define organization for me. What do you understand by the word organization? An organization with a group of people coming together to set a structure or system to achieve a given goal. It could be in terms of service or production or goods or services. Thank you. My own understanding of organization is when something is decided well and I know it's well. Oh my god. That was my experience. Thank you so much for that feedback. So what's the name? What? Trinity. Okay, Trinity. I have a gift for you after the I like it. I like the whole there. Okay, he's going. Okay, the reason why I asked to allow us define organization is because, when you hear organizational culture, you hear organization, your mind is going to, the big companies, you're thinking of Tesla, you're thinking of, PPG, right? You're thinking of all of these big companies. That is not bad in itself, but I want us to break it home. You agree with me? I mean, everybody here has introduced themselves, and trust me, I know that there's not more person here. I've been hearing consultants, this consultant, that, and I'm like, wow, amazing. So that means that you have a group of people that you manage, right? You have a group of people within your reach that you look after, that you lead, that you influence, right? So it is very important that you pay attention to the kind of culture that is embedded in that organization because, like you rightly defined the word, it's a group of people coming together. So maybe you're a project manager, you're consulting for a set, you have a group of people working under you. That is an organization. So we're going to be talking about how the culture that you adopt in that organization and influences knowledge transfer. Okay, organizational culture is the shared values, beliefs, behaviors, and norms that influence how employees interact and perform. So when you get to any place, for instance, let me say you get to an organization. Okay, for instance, myself, I've been to ECOWAS before. When I enter ECOWAS, I look at the orderliness. I look at how everything is arranged. It gives you an idea of the kind of culture that is embedded in that organization. It tells you that in this place, everything is orderly, right? The employees respect themselves and they are well compensated. Other than, okay, maybe you go into organizations like I've been in a few governmental organizations here in Abuja, all of these armored offices. When you enter your office, it's chaotic. You can tell the kind of culture that is in that kind of place. Everything is just, some of them are just even sitting down and okay, right? So that's to tell you how an organizational culture is. So it is the things that you see once you get into an organization, maybe a company or a group of people, the kind of values in that place is what organization culture is. Then also, what is knowledge transfer? Knowledge transfer refers to the deliberate process of moving knowledge from one entity to another, right? Take note of that word, a deliberate process. That means knowledge does not from A to point B without intentionality. You agree with me here that okay, maybe you can be in a team, you have some set of colleagues, and you want to share knowledge. Unless you are in an environment where knowledge sharing is easy, you won't just share knowledge anyhow. You don't just share knowledge anyhow. For instance, myself, human resource professional, I wouldn't just be working, okay, maybe I'm in a boat ride and I'll just start sharing knowledge like that. No, it has to be deliberate. And one of the things that allows for knowledge transfer is the kind of culture that an organization imbibe. Knowledge transfer is also the movement of skills, insight, and information between individuals or groups, right? It's the movement of skills, insight, and information. So when you think of knowledge transfer, it is not just a set of knowledge. It is not just knowledge in itself. We talk about skills, how you impact skills on people, how you impact information, insight, right? So when you think of knowledge transfer, it's not just knowledge in the abstract, but that's to do with skills, insight, and information. Now, let us look at the interplay of organizational culture and knowledge sharing. How does it really impact? I will speak of, okay, so knowledge transfer depends largely on the type of culture present in an organization. I believe that every organization exists to achieve a set of goals. Quite correct. You have a purpose for being into play. And one of the core, let me say, core factors that make an organization grow is building capacity within the organization, where you ensure that knowledge is being passed across from one colleague to another, one staff to the other, to ensure, for instance, succession planning, where if an employee leaves that position, you know that somebody else can fill up that position immediately, right? So one of the things that facilitates this is trust and openness. You must ensure that your organizational culture communicates trust and openness, where all employees are safe, where they feel safe, right? So I want to share knowledge with this person, and I'm sure that I'm sharing knowledge with the person for the person to become a better person. Not that I'm sharing knowledge with the person for the person to now come tomorrow and maybe the organization uses the person to push me out of the organization. A lot of organizations do that, where they tell you to train somebody. And when you're training that person, at the end of the day, you find out that the person was being set up for you. Right? So if you notice that that's the kind of organization you're in, you naturally take this position of where you just keep things to yourself. Even when they tell you to train somebody, you just give them the basic and that's just it. Because you really cannot tell. So it is very important that whichever organization you find yourself to influencing leadership, ensure that the culture is that appreciates trust and openness. Another thing is communication norms. I understand that the organization will always encourage, formal communication systems, for instance, to send emails, you communicate in a formal way, but also an informal communication system should also be put in place where maybe during my break, over a tea break, I can talk to my colleague and be like, oh, I have a challenge in this. Can I talk to you about this? Where they see themselves as family and you can easily put knowledge across. Right? So the communication should not be streamlined to only official me. Even myself in my organization, I think most of the problem that I get it solved when I communicate with my colleagues unofficially. I know sometimes I have to send emails and everything. Sometimes they're not even send email. Maybe some of them not even get to the email in time. But I just got that fun away. Everyone did sharp, 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 sharp. And the guy solves the problem for me. So in an organization, you must ensure that you have formal and informal means of communication to ensure free flow of knowledge transfer. Another thing is leadership behavior. Leaders who model transparency foster a learning culture. Right? I'll set an example of Cowrywise. I think most of us know that company here. They adopt a leadership model where quarterly they do an appraisal system where from the top to the bottom and from bottom to top, everyone share their strengths, their weaknesses, their challenges, and they learn. So you as an executive assistant, you are in the same meeting room where your MD is talking about how he has had a few challenges. He's communicating his weaknesses. He's being vulnerable for you to learn from. So that kind of leadership transparency ensures, knowledge transfer rather than a kind of culture where, the leadership are always bosses. They talk to you as though you're perfect. They talk to you like they don't make mistakes, making you feel as if you make mistake, you've done the worst thing in life. No, you must ensure that in your organization, you build a transparent system where the leadership is very transparent. You communicate weaknesses, you communicate the trend, right? Where, knowledge transfer is possible. So another thing is reward and recognition. In an organization, you must ensure that, you put in place systems of reward and recognition for people that share knowledge. It is very important. For instance, in my company, our manager, part of the KPI for a year is that you must train somebody. I think it accumulates in about 20% of their appraisal at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, you must show that you have trained someone, right? And in training that person, if the organization confirms that, I mean, either you get a promotion, you get a raise, you get an appreciation, or you get an award. That is already incorporated in, the performance management system. So when we put in place means to recognize and reward people for sharing knowledge, it fosters a culture where knowledge trust is very easy. Okay, another thing is tech adoption. I understand that there's been a lot of conversation here around, you must read books, you have to be hardcore and all of those things. So it's very important to read books, right? We can't also take away the importance of technology in aiding knowledge transfer, right? For instance, again, in my organization, we have a virtual learning management system. In fact, the app is on my phone. I can access it anytime. As far as you're a staff of the company, you can carry it everywhere you go. Where maybe you need to research about something, you just go on the app, type the topic, and you have everything that you need on that topic. Uh, that's very important because I know sometimes you want to Google about something and Google is taking you to okay, my time is a wow. Okay, yeah, so yeah, adopt technology in um, knowledge transfer. So what are the positives and negatives of having a culture that facilitates knowledge transfer? One of the positives is that an organization that promotes open communication, trust, and continuous learning experience smoother knowledge flows. Like I mentioned before, it is the goal of every organization that although you have staff in your organization at a point in time, when they leave, you should be able to have people that have filled up their positions correctly. And that can only be possible when you have developed a culture that enables knowledge transfer to the flow easily. I think that's what I'm going to drop the mic. Thank you very much.